Hi, Gene Burnett from GeneBurnett.com. Hey, I thought we'd talk a little bit today about suspending your joints and your your body weight and your structure, and then bringing that to bear on a strike in a kind of a dimmer switchy way. Just want to say from the outset that I'm not combat trained, and I don't know how to do this against a moving, aggressive target. It's a whole nother world when you do that. But as an addition to your practice, and maybe you want to take this to combat level, it certainly can be done. They do it a lot in Systema and some of the other martial arts, and even combat-oriented Tai Chi. This comes from the Tai Chi principle of working like a dimmer switch through your body so that you go slowly and you arrive with everything that you've got. It's not a rush the moment kind of a punch. In Tai Chi, you know, we punch slowly, and the whole point of that slow punch is to study that ripple of power. It starts down in the feet, comes up the legs, through the waist and spine, and out and into your opponent or your partner. You study that ripple, and you study it slowly so that if it's like 0 to 100, you don't skip any numbers. Or like if you were smearing paint, you don't make any breaks in the paint. You know, you want it to be a nice, smooth, even movement. That's what the slow motion is all about. But once you have that, you've studied that ripple and got it smoothed out so that it's, you know, ironed out, and there isn't any bumps or postural misalignments on the way. And you've learned to relax into an open, neutral posture at the end. That's really important, because I'm not holding onto the energy in my hand, and I'm not falling on my partner like that. I'm kind of arriving in a relaxed, neutral place. I call it like exploding into neutral. You're heading towards the ground, except there's somebody in the way. On your way to the ground, there's a person, and you drop into that a little bit. And then with this suspended joint strike thing, instead of the whole ripple all the way through from 0 to 100, you pick it up at maybe around 70. So you keep your joints neutral and relaxed, and then punch from there. And then gradually you punch from closer and closer to the target. So you keep your joints neutral and open, and then that ripple kind of moves through your structure. And at the end of it, you drop your weight the same way you would here in a big way. Push forward and drop. You know, a long arc. It's just softer from the very end. And I can't emphasize this enough. At the end of the movement, you're not tight, you're not held, you're not gripping. You're relaxed and neutral again, because you don't know what's going to happen next. So my buddy Neil here is going to take a few strikes, and we're going to absorb these strikes kind of like they do in Systema, where you kind of present your chest up a little bit, and then as the impact comes, you let it go. You know, you exhale, release your lungs, and actually you let your lungs kind of go like that. So if you hit me here, it's like that. You kind of let it go through you rather than, you know, doing that. You can even let it stagger you a little bit, like that. Let it move you a little bit, and that way the other person can kind of issue without being too worried about you. So, so here I am. I'm just gonna, instead of doing this like that all the way through, I'm just gonna start from here, and I'm gonna do this kind of Grateful Dead thing where you know, you let your joints kind of go like you're seaweed in the water, or like you're a puppet on strings. It's very loose, it's very apparently my chi from that last strike I did, like, blew the batteries out of the camera. Our camera suddenly went out, so we're going to do it again. So from here, I'm soft and relaxed, right? I'm loose, and instead of this all the way through, right, I'm going to pick it up in the middle from about 70%. So I'm going to do my Grateful Dead parking lot dance here. I'm going to keep all my joints loose, especially the spine and the pelvis. I'm going to keep all this relaxed, and then I'm just going to suddenly do the strike. So from here, I'm going to go boom, like that. So it's loose and relaxed at the end of it. So I'm loose and relaxed, comfortable here like a puppet on strings, boom. And then I'm going to relax again at the end. So when I'm done, absorb and then pull my hand if you can. Pull my hand. So from here, I'm going to go boom. Again, loose. You know, so I'm not falling over on it. So you try on me. So start up, loose, relaxed, comfortable, steer it right to here. foot so it doesn't kill me. Oh, beautiful. I recommend when you're absorbing one of these that you start with your teeth together. Seriously, because your teeth are apart and you'll get this clumpy thing that's like the dogs don't like, you know. So, okay, so that's one way of doing it. You start with a neutral, relaxed, seaweed body. I'm going to do it really slowly now. So my wrists are circling, my elbows are circling, my shoulders, my neck, my spine, my head. And then one of those little spirals, I'm just going to direct my power. Once you've taken a few, it's hard. You naturally go, oh shit. But I'm going to do it really soft, so you just absorb it. So I'm loose and soft like this, and then one of those spirals, I'm going to bring my body weight through and drop into them. In the Systema, they're really good at doing this at unusual angles. There's one basic one that's just like a dolphin cresting and into the other person. That's kind of what we're doing here. But they will hook those in, or hook it that way, or hook it this way, or do it that way, or all kinds of different angles on it. You can play with that, or find a Systema instructor who can show them to you. I'm just doing it on a really basic level here. And again, he's not a moving target. He's not trying to hit me. It's just about bringing this quality. It's more about this quality than it is about combat functionality right now for me. So what I want to do is I'm going to do it from even closer. So I'm relaxed and soft, and one of these is just going to boom, like into him like that. That's pretty good, huh?
That's good.
Move him. Try that. Try it from really close. So everything's loose, and remember when you issue here, issue in your hand and in your back foot. So everything kind of expands together. Yeah. So it's a nice thing to play with, to bring this. You know, I think they call it heavy hands in Systema. We just call it grounding, or bringing our ward off and our structure into the strikes. They do it a lot in Xingyi, dropping into the strike. And so this is just a way to play with that. And you can do it from really close, so unless you're Bruce Lee, you're not going to hurt your partner. So right from there, boom, like that. Just try to drop into it. So hopefully that's a quality you can play with, and whether you're into a more martial yoga for personal development, or you're into martial arts for serious self-defense, it might be just something that'll help, something you can play with. Because it's not magic, it's physics. It's dropping your body weight and structure into the other person. And imagine if, I weighed another 100 pounds, and that 100 pounds was trained into me, and that was smoothly integrated into my whole dimmer switch, and I could take a 260-pound or 70-pound punch into somebody. Man, seriously, man, it'll knock you into next week. It's so surprising, and it doesn't require stances and structures. You can do it back fist, any angle. When you get good at it, you can just drop your elbow. You can drop it through your elbow, or drop it through your shoulder, or you can. If there was another person here, I could just put one hand on here, and if you're firm, I could use you to issue off, even if I was sideways. Like that. You can push off of things and do it. You're just translating through the ground, whether it's through another person or a chair or furniture. You're translating through the ground, up and out, and then dropping into your target. So really fun stuff. And if you have a partner who can take a punch a little bit and who can do that, this is a good, convenient place to do it. But imagine how it would be on the sternum. All that crushing weight, boom, into the sternum or into the throat or into a softer, an area that's not prepared. It could be pretty gnarly. So thanks for watching. Appreciate it. If you want to subscribe to my YouTube channel, that would be awesome. I do all kinds of videos like this, as well as a lot of music videos. And visit my website, GeneBurnett.com. And have a nice day. Okay, hold up.
She just went for it.
We're just going to add a little bit. My student who wishes to remain anonymous was telling me she can't close her hands really well. Is it arthritis?
Yeah, I'm just abuse.
Just abuse, okay. And so I said, oh, well, you can do it with an open hand. And check this out. See, just an open-handed strike. Now, here's an interesting exercise which came naturally just out of doing this. Very, very slowly. When she does that, I'm just going to catch that elbow. So that's a test for her to ground herself so that I can't tug her off center. Go a little too far. See? Got her. So you can absorb and steal somebody's balance really simply if they go too far. If they don't go too far, I grab and she elbows me in the chest. Right? So I do this, boom, right? So you catch the elbow on the way in. I'll do it really gently. So boom, right. And she pulls me, right? But if I go bang and I'm grounded, she pulls me, so what? She's pulling me right into her. So at the end, don't give it up. At the end, settle. Okay? And you can issue through your elbow or whatever. So that's all the more reason to pay attention to that structure. Pay attention to how you land. In a real fight and in real life even, everyday applications, you got no time. It's boom, 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 you know, it just happens before you know it. That's why it's so great to practice it in training, so that you train to release and open into a good structure at the end. So you're boom, you know, your posture and your relaxation, everything comes with you. Then in real life, you just see if, you know, if something happens, you're not thinking, I shall, you know, pay attention to my structure. You know, you're trying to survive. You're trying to make it out of the encounter. So don't worry about that stuff in the moment. But in training, great, man. You can concentrate all you want. So issue and then, yeah, exactly. Thank you very much. That was our PS.